Oh my goodness.
So, I felt like making this video because something gave me an idea. And yes, I'm using a text-to-speech audio because I don't feel like recording my voice. Might as well deal with it. Anyways, I was snooping through Facebook. We all know Facebook is a fucking dumpster fire. Aside from that, one of my Discord mutuals was sending screenshots of some of the things she had seen in one of these incel Facebook groups. I decided I wanted to check at least one of them out, just for as long as my brain can handle the absolute dog shit takes that they spew out. The group we're gonna be taking a ride through is called Kevin Samuels Disciples. If you don't know who Kevin Samuels is, the only way I can describe him in the most simplistic way is that he is basically a godfather to incels. Also, he's dead, lol. Before we get into any actual posts, I want to read out the description that they gave out. Are you ready? Here we go. Men control access to marriage and relationships! ! Emoji. Women control access to sex, and if a child would be born, another ! Emoji. Men want women who are F fit, feminine, friendly and cooperative! Emoji once more. So what we had read out with the first 29 words of lurking, we can already tell it's gonna be a wild ride. Get your diving gear, fellas. We're going in. So, first post I come across already contains a very interesting yet triggering topic. Triggering, I say, because it contains grooming of girls and young women, and older men preying on these impressionable girls and young women. Let's read out this monstrosity of a caption, shall we?
Older women waste their prime years. Get upset because older men have way more options with younger counterparts than they do. Women win and have more options in the beginning, but lose in the end. Men lose and have more options in the beginning but win in the end.
I wish some of y'all would put a blindfold on and walk out in the middle of the street. That's what I wish for some of y'all.
Okay, let's dissect this. So, what exactly does he mean, older women wasting their prime years? A woman's prime years are between the ages 18-26. Maybe the prime years are younger, varying between Kevin Fanboy to Kevin Fanboy, but since they consider 26 prehistoric, we'll give them 26. When a girl is 18, she is mainly figuring out her life. It's still possible that she is in school and living with her parents. She isn't much different from the average 17 or even 16-year-old. She still has a young girl mindset. She is still childish basically. In fact, 18 is still a child. It's just legal and less frowned upon to want to fuck one because haha they're adult now. When in reality, that's not how it fucking works. The reason why I mention 18 so frequently is because 18 is closer to 17, and 17 is closer to 16, and so on and so forth. You may be thinking, this is one huge stretch. But oh boy, are we gonna get into this later on. In the meantime, these men are mainly in their late 20s, 30s, 40s and even 50s, talking about how they prefer girls and women who are 18, 19, 20, and above. I mean, come on, think about it. What 30-year-old with a fucking fully developed frontal lobe wants anything to do with an 18-year-old? Relationship-wise. The reason why these men don't want women their age is because these women are mature. They can most likely see through your bullshit in minutes. Their standards remain high because they want a grown man doing grown man things, and these men are still childish in mindset, so they run off to these little girls and young women, because big bad scary 30-year-old woman wants a man and not a child. And I already know, there's gonna be someone out there saying but young women want older men most of the time. Well, let's have this conversation, since you asked for it. Let's talk about BTS for one short moment. I know, pop is cringe blah blah blah, but they are going to be used as an example for this topic. If you've been living under a rock, you should already know the Korean boy band BTS. I won't go further into detail other than that because I don't want to go on a diatribe. If you look at the BTS fandom, or any other boy band fandom, you will see that the girls a part of these fandoms are young, literal minors, as young as 11 fangirling over these young adult men. Again, you might be thinking, but what does this have to do with young girls preferring older men? As a conventionally attractive male, women will be attracted to you, which also includes young girls. Does this mean you have to be in a relationship with them because of this? Of course not, you goddamned idiot. There are gonna be young girls out there who prefer older men. Sometimes this is because of past traumatic situations or them being groomed by a previous older male in their life. It is up to you whether or not you give them the time of day. You are not forced to reciprocate a 14-year-old child's affections because she hangs up posters of you on her wall and calls you her biggest fan. You have every right to say no and walk away. As simple as that. And promise you, if these types of men would go low, they will 100% go lower if it didn't come with a life-risking punishment. I'm done with this conversation. Let's move on to the next. I have seen at least 3 posts about the "what do you bring to the table" conversation. This is a very popular tactic that these types of men will use against women whether she is of low or high status. I'll run through this quick since this topic has been talked about enough. Whenever a man asks you this question, do not answer it, because it's a trick question. No answer is the correct answer, and any answer you give, he will find a way to use it against you.
You fast tracking everything. If you're not hiring me for a job, why am I answering to you what I bring to the table? Either you're gonna take your time, you're gonna take your time to get to know me and figure out what it is that I bring. It's the audacity of asking the question that's a problem.
Anybody that can't answer this question, male or female, confidently doesn't have any true value to bring to the table. I ain't gonna hold you.
Next topic. Oh yes.
I deal with a single mother. I don't want to deal with a woman that's over 200 pounds.
All right, I get it. I promise. I got it the first time, I got it the second time, I got it the third time. How many goddamn podcasts do we need? Some man coming up in here and telling me what he likes to suck and what he likes to fuck. Completely unprovoked. Nobody asked. I just see these goddamn videos on my For You page. Every time I press not interested, I scroll away. I press not interested. I scroll away. You come back for more. You won't leave me the fuck alone. I'm sick and tired. The women you're talking about are tired. The women you're not talking about are tired. The men in the back are tired. Shit, the non-binary people are asleep. We all want to go home and you will not fucking let us. It is June 2022 and we were still doing this shit. What is it that you need exactly? What do I have to do for you to leave me alone? Was it me? Did I come up to you with a Glock and tell you to go put your penis in that single mother over there or else I'm gonna shoot? I don't recall doing that at any point. You don't want to sleep with these women? Don't. Like, what do you want me to tell you? Do you want me to somehow, like, summon all of the magic in the world to make the women you actually want to sleep with you? I can't do that. I don't think God himself can do that at this point, as a matter of fact. And then you want to be like, oh, well, I'm only saying it because I'm being shamed. No, you are not! You are coming onto the internet and publicly announcing this information. Every fucking Friday, you need to make a presidential inaugural speech about why you don't like fat bitches. If I came onto the internet every day and was like, I goddamn hate people who eat cheesecake. All the people who eat cheesecake are gonna get mad at me. It's just common fucking sense. I absolutely refuse to believe that you are just walking into Walmart and everybody there just somehow senses that you've never stuck your schlong inside of a fat woman before, and then they all like start running after you with pitchforks. What the no, that's not how that works. And then you want to be like, oh, well, I'm just giving advice. I'm trying to help these other men. What advice? I ain't seen you give advice one time. Not once. It's like going to the guidance counselor in high school and telling them you want to kill yourself, and then they're just like, well, your grades aren't that good, and send you back to class. You aren't helping. As a matter of fact, if I wanted to listen to a podcast with dating advice so I could get better at it, why would I listen to you? You clearly you don't have much success in this department. You're so goddamn bitter about it all the time. You're not married or anything. Well, I wouldn't want to listen to like a married man talk about it, or a man who's like been successful with it. Hell, I would rather listen to a woman who's like an actual like person who has a different perspective of it. Why would I want to listen to you just bitch and moan about how you don't like fat women for 3 hours? I have had enough. I am not interested. Leave me alone.
The old single mother hater brigade. A conversation that has been argued over for as long as I can remember, in a Discord server. I explained why single motherhood and baby mother culture is plaguing low-income and even wealthier Black communities. Buckle up, 'cause it's another long one.
Before we mention single mothers, we must dissect the baby mother culture within the Black community. Of course, every community has some form of baby mother culture, but the Black community is notoriously known for it, and how this ties directly with single motherhood and why men hate them so much. So, why is marriage so scarce, but not the production of children? It all has a lot to do with polygamy versus monogamy. Many people don't realize that as a man, having multiple kids by multiple women is a form of polygamy. One of the reasons why Black males don't value marriage is because the thought of them being tied down to just one woman feels like a form of prison to them. If you are a Black male who has gotten multiple women pregnant, it's a form of status, that you are a man of some sorts. The baby mama baby daddy culture ties heavily with society seeing women as property to own, sexual objects, and less than human. Black males giving the mother of their child the name, baby mama, is basically the 1950s white misogynist equivalent of wife equals property. But unlike white misogynists who see some type of value in marriage, these Black males don't value marriage, period. Like I said previously, they see marriage as some form of imprisonment. They feel trapped, especially if the woman values faithfulness. In the eyes of Black males, it's easier to make women baby mothers. It's a form of owning a woman without the use of a ring. It's also a direct reasoning to why they have such a deep hatred for single mothers, since they see a woman carrying his child in her womb without the use of a ring as a form of marriage. They see that a woman has done that for another man, so therefore, she would be seen as another man's property. She is wasted goods, she used and washed up. And the hatred grows even worse when they know she was abandoned as a woman. Why was she thrown away? Is she not valuable? Is she hard to deal with? Oh dear, she must have a strong Black woman attitude who don't need no man, better steer clear of her. What about the children? They don't care for the children in most cases. In fact, use the children to keep the woman locked down so she won't be seen as valuable and worthy in the eyes of another man.
Text-to-speech changed because the female one was getting annoying. Anywho, the next topic contains something that isn't a part of the group per se, but is another popular argument that they use against women. And an incredibly stupid one as well. You should have chosen better, or pick better men.
In our lives, we've been conditioned to follow the rules of Nagerville. And then when things don't work out for us in our relationships, Nagerville tells us, you should have chose better. But what did Nagerville give us to choose from in the first place?
That brings the question, who is better? What is better? Well, there are two possible answers. Let's use a scenario for answer 1. There is a woman that 2 men are attracted to. Guy number 1 is a gang member. He does illegal activity, he has a lot of money. He's dominant and doesn't take shit from anyone. Also, he has an above average eggplant if you know what I mean. Let's move on to guy number 2, basically the exact opposite of guy number 1. He's shy, a nerd who's introverted and would rather spend his time doing important matters like work and studies. He's kind-hearted, nice and sweet. His eggplant size is either below or just simply average. You will expect the woman to choose guy number 2 because he's sweet and caring. Nope, she goes for guy number 1 because that's just simply who she's attracted to.
What's the hottest job?
I don't know if I can say that. Attractive.
What's the least attractive job?
What are those who? Oh, janitor?
Oh, maybe? Yeah, you scrubbing the shit toilets? Oh, nah.
Or, I would say a mechanic, but some mechanics make money, but I met a mechanic before and he was pro.
Let's take a look at the media for a second. One of the most common love tropes is the bad boy and a good girl character. These relationships are romanticized heavily and it grooms young girls into believing that being the trap queen and the hood princess is a fairy tale love story. And I understand it shouldn't be completely blamed on the media, but it does play a part.
So I can't be with a man that makes $100,000 a year or less. I would prefer $1 million or more. And there are men for me. So if you make $100,000 a year, that's great. There are women for you, but that woman is not me, baby. But do you make that? Men with money who want to provide do not care what you make. They mostly care about how you make them feel, how you look. So stop trying to compare the two. You can't be logical because logically we're made up different. But it's harder to be with a man with money because he don't need help with the bills. So your job and degrees don't really mean that much. You got to bring something else. Y'all would be with somebody that treats you bad for money. Your mom was with somebody that treated her bad for love. Stop bashing women who is turned on by a man who has figured out how to provide on a large scale. Blame God, not us.
Let's look back over at guy number 2. Of course, since he was rejected by the woman he wanted to be with, he would be very upset. But there is something he can do. Move the fuck on, and not become some low-life bitter incel who spends all his time on the internet hating women because the woman he wanted went for a guy that isn't like him. The conversation of choose better men really shows that men cannot take it when a woman has preferences of her own, especially if they don't match up with his character. And the funny thing is, guys do the exact same thing. Likewise with women choosing bad boys with lots of money and big schrons over the opposite. Men choose women who look like Instagram models with big butts, she's light-skinned with curly hair and light green eyes, over a girl who's the opposite. And I know what you're thinking. But that's his preference. But when it's a woman who so happens to choose a man who checks off all of her list of standards and so happens to get her heart broken, it's you should have chosen better. Men can run and cry to the internet about how these bitches ain't shit, and how all women do is cheat and lie. No one says shit, it's basically them in their little circle coping and crying. But when women do the same, yet again the words come out, you should have chosen better. A huge double standard, I tell you. Man, there's a whole lot of things I want to talk about, but we can only bring up our last one. And oh my goodness, did I save the best, and by best I mean by worst, for last. The disdain for confident women. Oh God, why do Kevin Samuels booty lickers hate women who love themselves so dearly? And it's very simple, and not hard to point out at all. They hate confident women because they feel threatened by her loving herself.
What would you rate yourself?
12. I mean, you go ahead and rate me. I don't know.
What would you rate her?
What do I rate her?
What would you rate her?
Shit, 10 out of 10. This is my homie right there. It's a 9.
9? Can we take the microphone home?
I'll give you a 7.
Can we take the microphone home?
No.
No?
But I want to take her home one day.
You want to take Serena? You want to take a 7 home? Sorry, babe, but you cannot do that.
I ain't no simp, that's why.
They see a woman who doesn't need men to make her feel beautiful, a woman who lives her life freely and confidently. These men feel threatened by these type of women because they grew up believing a woman needs a man to make her feel whole and secure.
Scale from 0 on 1 to 10, you can't use 7. What would you rank your looks? Fresh face out of the shower, your natural hair.
A 10.
Your face?
Yes. A 10. I'm always going to give myself a 10. I'm not going to ever give myself.
All right. So there we go right there, people. That's all you need. You see all the hearts people losing? See, you can cap all you want to, but you're not an international supermodel. You're not an international, and I'm just trying to ask you.
It also has a lot to do with the fact that they themselves are not confident. So the jerk reaction is for them to beat you down to their level so that you can be insecure and bitter right alongside them.
Something for a good reason. And I'm trying to be helpful, but man, you and Rihanna walk into the room, don't nobody confuse you. You're not a 10. You're not a 10.
Rihanna.
You're not a 10. You're not a 10. But that's the point. But that's a 10. You're not a 10.
Okay.
And these sad, broken, pathetic nobodies proceed to get into relationships with these women knowing they have unhealed trauma. It's all a part of a plan to get the woman to depend on him for her support, which is why these men target strong and independent women. It's like taking down the enemy in a game. They approach the woman with the plan in motion. They proceed to start a relationship with her. His plan is to get her to like him. He puts in work to get her affections, softening her hard shell. His goal is to get to her weak spot, proceeding to get to know her, take her out on dates, treat her well, buy her things and so on. Until it stops. Him realizing that now he has her, he owns her. Now, he no longer has to put in work to garner her affections because he already got what he wanted, either it be her body or her confidence.
I remember when we were dating, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I asked him to give me some flowers, and you know what he told me? That he could not get me flowers because I asked for it.
And that is when he starts to become abusive, either mentally, physically, psychologically or emotionally. His goal is to make her feel undesired and unloved so that now, she can depend on him for her confidence. The woman starts to grow insecure and dependent on her boyfriend, believing that no one else would love her but him. Basically, sucking the energy and confidence out of her, and eventually, throwing her away in favor of another woman, and the cycle most likely continues as these people never get bored of this game.
Y'all, this man got me pulling out my frontal. Like, I ain't talked to him all day. All day. He's still in Germany. And now I'm calling him and he's not answering the phone because I know he's asleep because tomorrow his birthday. He wants.
And you know who gets blamed? The woman. Isn't that a bit ridiculous? Instead of putting all blame on the man who consciously chose to put her through hell instead of going to therapy and even self-healing, but instead, the woman gets all blame. In the process of getting to know him, she most likely didn't even know what he was capable of.
Comment section and said, well, why don't you post about green flags? Why are you always so negative? I'd be confused. Because green flags aren't what they seem nowadays. Green flags are the bare minimum that even a blind woman can see. Like, literally any woman can sit back and see the good things a man is doing. My page is more focused on the manipulation, right? That's why I'm not at 1 million followers yet, because people don't like hearing how dudes could do them dirty. If I was on here telling you about the green flags every day, I'll be misleading y'all. Because green flags in 2022 normally turn red. It's like I always say, bro, I'll be paying attention to the wrong thing.
To them, it's simply easier to blame the woman instead of the man, because they see themselves more in the abuser than in the abused. And that's all I have for today. I'll make a part 2 if I feel like it.